Now, what are you going to show us today?
Well, today we're going to do a fried cabbage.
Okay.
And I know cabbage is one that people are harvesting right now. And so a lot of times people want to boil cabbage. And that's the most common way that people cook cabbage. But today we're going to do more of a sauteed. It's not necessarily breaded fried, but we call it fried cabbage.
Yeah, so. Mr. D, not necessarily fried now.
Yeah, with no meat, no pork. So we're just going to show that today. So yeah.
Okay.
So basically what you'll do is, what you need for this is a head of cabbage. You need some onion, bell pepper, and you can do red or green. I like to do red sometimes just to give it a little color.
Okay.
And then you're going to need some oil, vegetable oil, garlic powder, black pepper, and then bullion is what we're using to give it a lot more flavor. Okay. Notice we're not using any meat,
yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
anything like that. So this is a recipe too that if you're on a low salt diet, it's one that you can use the reduced sodium bullion.
Okay.
And so basically what you're going to do is combine your cabbage. You'll take your cabbage and you want to chop it. Okay. And you also want to make sure that when you're cooking cabbage, if you're going to chop it, you want to go ahead and use it that day. Because once you go ahead and chop your cabbage, it's going to start breaking down. Okay. So anytime you're cutting your cabbage, you want to go ahead and use it.
Now,
so,
was that a whole cabbage?
Yes, this was one head. One head, okay. And then we're using a small bell pepper. So we're going to use half green and half red, like I said, just to give it a little color.
Oh, those are pretty.
Yeah.
Nice color.
And then we're going to have some onion.
Those onions really smell.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, if you don't know how to cook, just chop an onion, and people will think you know how to cook. So
let me write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're just going to mix all of that together really well. And while you're doing that, you're going to put a tablespoon of oil into your skillet. Okay. And you want that not really, really hot, but because you're just going to basically kind of saute your vegetables. Because you don't want to cook them to the length, because a lot of times that's what happens with vegetables. We cook them a little too long. Okay. And so you'll start to kind of lose some of your nutrients. So
I can tell that's not enough to deep fry.
No, not enough at all. So we're going to put our cabbage in our skillet.
Now, Rita, while you're doing that, what about the nutritional value of cabbage?
The nutritional value, basically, cabbage is really, really high in vitamin K and a good source of vitamin C as well. You get about 45% of your recommended daily allowance of vitamin C from cabbage. And any variety of cabbage, they're all about the same. No fat in cabbage. And about a half of a cup cooked gives you about 20 calories. So not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot at all.
Okay.
So once you put this in the skillet, you'll let it sit for about a minute. And then you're going to add your garlic powder and one of your bouillons. And you're going to add a little water. You don't have to add very much water because cabbage is going to kind of cook down. Okay. And it's going to make its own water. So you don't have to do very much to that at all. And then you're going to just kind of stir it around a little bit. And then put your lid on and let it sit for about 15 minutes. Let it simmer for about 15 minutes. And then we have a finished product of what it looks like once it's done.
Yeah, that looks good.
So again, you're not cooking it to where it's just limp. It's still going to have some crunch to it. Okay. And so that's what makes it still have some of its nutritional value to it. So.
Now let's talk a little bit about storing the cabbage.
Okay.
So how do we go about doing that?
When you buy a cabbage, you want to have it in plastic wrap and put it in your refrigerator. And it's usually going to last about a week. If you're only using half of a cabbage, cut it in half. And then put a little water on the cut side, put it in plastic, and put it in your refrigerator.
Well, that's the first time I heard that.
Yeah, that's going to help it last a little longer. But most of your vegetables, they're going to last a week. Your cabbage, because it's so tightly packed, may last a little longer. Okay. But most of your vegetables are going to be a little over a week.
Good deal. All right, so here's the part that we love. Can we taste that?
You sure can.
I see Mr. D is chomping at the bit, so we're going to let him taste this without the meat in it.
Yeah,
How about
without
that?
the meat.
I was wondering, where's the beef?
Yeah. Well, and also, we don't have cornbread and all the other good stuff, but this is one that you can easily serve with a different type of protein, maybe a chicken or a beef along with it. So.
A little ham, maybe.
Yeah, a little ham if you need a little pork in your life, that's good.
Now, Rita, let me ask you this. So are these recipes available for the homeowners if they want to come by the office and pick this up?
Sure,
Okay.
we can have those available to them. We have several recipes on hand. If you go through our program, our FNET program that I discussed earlier, you get a cookbook full of recipes. Most of our recipes are 30 minutes or less, showing you your nutritional value. So if you are on a low sodium diet or low sugar, then you can see what the nutritional value is. So, how about
It's
it?
high in nutrition, low in cost, and tastes good.
Yeah,
it tastes good. There's no doubt about
I think
that.
your cabbage, you can get that for like 99 cents for a head. So, and it makes quite a bit. So you can feed your
cabbage.
full family on this. So what do you think?
doubt.
Very good.
It's good. So it is one way that you can, again, cut back on your sodium so that you're not, if you're trying to get your vegetables, but you're really trying to cut back on how much sodium you're taking in, this is a good recipe for that.
And these are good carbs, too.
Yes.
Good carbs.
The good stuff. All right, well, Rita, we appreciate that.
No problem.
Delicious.
No problem.